Okay. You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do this. Is it a magnet? Wow. Jack, is the stream on?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, you guys, we ready to get going? Yeah? We ready? We ready? We ready? Great. It is 11 o'clock on the dot. We do have Boo. Boo is coming up. He's going to be about 10 minutes after 11. So we'll just kind of hang out until then. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to get going. So today, obviously, what test week is next week, right? So today is kind of our last training to prep for this. Who feels like they're ready?
I'm so ready.
Are you? Who feels ready?
I'll be ready the day before.
Love it. The day before.
I'll be like, okay, I feel ready.
Okay. Who feels like they're kind of ready? Still a little bit, need a little bit of polishing? Love. Okay. Anybody still feeling really, really nervous? Yeah. Okay. A little nervous. Nerves are good, right? Like nerves are okay. You know, I think, what do they say? Like physiologically, nerves and nervousness and excitement is the exact same thing. You know, like there's literally no chemical difference. So just lean into the excitement, trust yourself, trust your gut. I will say with these things, nobody is at, we just did yesterday, I just chatted with everybody who's going to be evaluators for this, which is all peers of yours, right? Nobody's here trying to crack or break you down by any means, right? In fact, it's the exact opposite. So just lean into it, trust yourself, trust your gut. Use the tools that we've created for you guys. You guys are going to do just fine. So don't worry about it. Okay, remember, tomorrow we will be rolling out the scheduler for it, right? Obviously, you get just schedule one time. And obviously, you know, I hope I don't need to say this. Don't move anybody else around, okay? Like just whatever is available, pick what's available. So don't go in there and just start moving people because that would be tough. Let's see. Okay, so I want to direct you to this right here. Well, actually, here, let me go like this. Okay, when you go into resources and under documents, okay, you're going to scroll all the way down in the bottom right-hand side. The most important prep document for you guys is the last one on here. It's called the test flow per archetype. Okay, when you open this up, this is going to give you everything you need.
So
Okay.
that is the going on. I don't know if anyone else is on that, but
Oh, there it is.
There it is. I just refreshed.
Nice. There it is. Okay, perfect. So again, the last document in that tile right there, this is absolutely going to be the most helpful thing for you guys as you are just kind of tidying up those last little things. So this gives you all the preparation. Remember, we're going to give you your seller archetype and a real property for at least 48 hours in advance. Okay, you're going to research, you're going to do kind of run a little bit of a CMA on there. You don't need to go, we definitely are evaluating if you are in the right price range for that property. Okay, that is absolutely a thing. So, but we're not, you only have like 4 or 5 minutes in the actual test to like go through it. So you're not going to go through every single comp on the list. Does that make sense? So do the research, but it is in the actual test. It's like kind of a micro, example of it, or like we're going only so deep. Okay. Okay. Any questions here? Cool. Okay. This gives you obviously the timing and like what you need to prep for. This is the flow that you should prep for also. Okay. And then in this document right here, this will go through, for example, if you get an analytical atom, this will go through every single objection. It may not sound exactly like that, but this will go through all of the potential options for objections that they might throw out. Okay. Again, you're going to know this stuff 48 hours in advance. You got plenty of time to prep. Okay. And last thing, remember that if you joined the team February on, this is an optional thing for you. Okay. Optional. We do have enough slots for you to, if you want to take a stab at it, but optional. Okay. If you have been on the team, but prior to February, this is mandatory for you. Okay. Cool. So let's jump right into this. So today we're going to go through kind of what we did on Tuesday. Oop, not
That was
now.
so helpful.
Was it?
Yes.
It is honestly
I would
this
say, like,
GPT.
that was so good. Like I took more from that than like just like learning about it. Like the actual role plays actually that helps.
Yes.
Yeah. Like with everyone, it's like hearing more tenured agents like talk through it. I was helpful.
Yep. Hey, welcome. Good timing. Round of applause for Boo. Okay, let's jump into it. Literally the most perfect timing ever. Okay, but don't stand right there because you're right in front of the camera. Okay, I've got the mic, so we'll just kind of toss this around. I'm gonna, I'll be the seller, you be coach for right now, and then we'll switch. Okay?
Do it the same way we're doing it in Utah County?
Same way, same exact way.
Okay, so does everybody understand the context? How
Here.
we're gonna do this?
You ready?
Yeah. So in Utah County, we're approaching this just a little bit different than how you guys did it last week. So what we're gonna be. Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Oh, you guys already know then. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the seller. We need 2 brave volunteers. Come on up. Come on. Yeah. Please. Actually, we'd love for you to do that.
What are we doing again?
We're gonna read out a seller objection.
Oh, great.
You are going to be one of the agents. Okay, we need one more person to be an agent right next to Scott. That should make you feel real confident. Scott's pretty good.
If you are second guessing your abilities, I would jump in with Scott really quickly.
Whatever objection you have, I have. I didn't know you were really from parole. That's awesome.
Barely.
Okay, I'm gonna call somebody. Unless somebody wants to come up.
Good to see you today.
It's good to see you.
You ready? Lauren. Okay, you sit. You sit right here. I'll be fine. Okay, ready?
The listing support dog.
All right, yeah.
So we're both agents?
You both are agents, yep, and I'm your seller.
Okay, objection. You are meeting with Maggie, a potential seller in Draper. She's motivated but cautious and has owned her home for 12 years. The home is in great condition, but dated cosmetically. Objection. I want to wait until the market picks back up. I've seen prices go down in my neighborhood, and I don't want to leave money on the table. You're the agent. Jump in and practice your response. So, let's hear from Maggie.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm motivated, but I really just, I want to make sure that I get the best possible price. And I've seen, my neighbor listed their home and not really going very well for them. And so I want to make sure, like I said, I'm motivated to move, but I want to make sure price is in the range.
Tell me more about that. You said it's not going well.
Yeah, they listed their house. I think when I saw it on Zillow, they listed their house for like $825, and they just sold it and moved. And I don't think it sold for $825. I think it sold for way less than that. So.
Yeah, luckily we can look that up for you, right? Because Utah's a non-disclosure state, as you probably know. So it's not public data. Zillow doesn't know what it sold for either. So let me look that up for you, tell you what it actually sold for. The other thing to be aware of is like seller concessions, like they might have given up some concessions. So even if they sold, for instance, for full list price, if they gave 10,000 concessions, in reality, it actually netted 10,000 less than list price. Now your property, you have to remind me, this is the first time I've sat down, what were some of the differences that you saw between that property that sold that you said didn't perform well and your property?
I mean, my property is, I think, way nicer than theirs. I've got a pool. I've got a hot tub outside, I just recently redid the backsplash in my kitchen. So, I think it's nicer.
Lauren, you're up. And now that's the.
Well, I just want to say, what is it about waiting that makes you think that's good?
Okay, so we have that. Oh, sorry. Keep going. That was a good question. My bad.
Particular
The-
about what are you waiting for? You say like, I want to wait for your top dollar. Like, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I just think that if we have a recent, like you were saying, look at the price and tell me exactly what it sold for. But I've chatted with the people that moved in and they said they got a great deal on it. So in my mind that, and they said it was below 800. So I think I'm just waiting for, you know,
We came prepared with a market analysis. We'll go through with you here in a second, and Lauren can break that down for you. But when we look at the seasonality specifically, when I'll pull it down the list and I'll show you. If you go onto the stats, you can see when new residential listings historically hit the market. In your particular case, because you have this Rambler in Sugar House, that's a really common floor plan. I think where we're thinking we want to price it based on your input as well. There's tends to be a lot more competition, I think, in your vicinity, and we'll show you some of those active listings. So in other words, what I'm getting at is in April, you see this uptick, and I'll show you on the graph here under rapid stats, where you start to see a lot more competition in April, and that kind of peaks in June. So April, May, June, that competition level is going up, right? And in your particular case, because it's a type of property that we see really commonly in the Sugar House area, we want to beat your competition to the market. Luckily for you, because you've put a lot of work into the property, you've done these upgrades, I think it's kind of market ready. Now, there's obviously a few things we want to prep you with getting the house decluttered, getting it potentially staged, professional photography, all these things that Lauren and I and our team are going to bring to you to get it as marketable as possible. If we're able to bring your home to the market before the competition does, that means that we're taking advantage of the increased buyer activity now that we're kind of in spring break season, but we're also limiting the amount of competition on the market. Does that make sense, how I described that?
yeah, it does. But what about this sale around the corner that just happened for, less than 800K? Like I want to get at least 825, and so I'm just worried about that.
Lauren?
Well, what is it about that higher purchase price?
I mean, 25 grand at least in my pocket, that means a lot to me. So I want to try to get 25 grand. That's really it.
Yeah, I mean, that is my job, is to get you the highest purchase price possible. And we can list at that higher purchase price, but the problem with that is people are always going to negotiate you down from there. So we can list at whatever we want to list at, but the market is always going to respond. So I personally think it's better to go in at market value where we're seeing buyers come in, and we want to create as much buyer activity around it as possible to sell it as quickly as possible and create a lot of excitement around it.
And Maggie, to be clear, like there's a pricing strategy that we're gonna go through with you. You kind of have these like three options. We can intentionally kind of underlist it from where we think the market value is based on the comps, generate a lot of activity, and get that extra buyer competition where now we're getting bidding wars. We could list it, as Lauren said, at market value, where we're gonna let the market respond and see what the activity level is like, and we'll give you that feedback from open houses, from showing like that. Or if you want to intentionally list it optimistically, that's okay too, with the understanding that based on the feedback that we get, your house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it, right? As much as I would love to sell your house for $1 million, we have to go off what someone's willing to pay for the property, basic supply and demand. What Lauren can tell you about though is how we can leverage not just our buyer pool, but really the database of number one team in Utah with 189 agents as of last.
So really quick.
Yeah.
Her concern is what? net. So I would try to approach this two ways. Number one, try to get her off the dollar amount that the house can be potentially sold for and get to her walkaway number. Usually if you can reframe that, it becomes very helpful for the client. The other thing too is it theoretically, if she waits 6 months to a year, can she make that extra 25,000? We don't know. And so I would try to figure out with her exactly what it looks like if she has to stay in the house for the next 6 to 12 months. Maggie, what happens? Let's say we don't get it and you end up wanting to pull it off the market and you want to wait for a year. What does it look like to live in this house for another year? Or if I would also go and ask her what her next move is. Are you going to be buying something? Yes. Okay. Do you want to be waiting until prices have gone up those 25,000? Let's say it does go up 25,000. Do you really want to be paying that additional 25,000? So I would try to move it off of the objection. And yeah, Lauren, you're going to take this and just say, okay, so hypothetically, let's say that we don't list it. What does your life look like for the next year to live in this house until we can get that increase? But you can say whatever you want to. Guys, the goal with this role play is not to say whatever we tell you to say, but it's to hit the principle. The principle is to move on to what life looks like if this doesn't work out for her. Because sometimes people get so fixated on a number that they're not paying attention to what happens if I don't get that number. You got to paint that picture and help her. The term we like to use is self-discover. Self-discover what this looks like if you're going to be living in this house for another 6 months to a year. Or self-discover, we sell it, and then your goal is to go out and compete in 6 months when purchase prices have gone up and we're able to get that extra 25,000. You're not making any money. You're still paying that 25,000. So whichever direction you want to take that.
Why is that number? But, yeah, so what does it look like if you stay in your home and you're looking to purchase another home? Yeah.
Okay, so stop. Was that clear? Let's try it one more time. Guys, that's why we call this a workout. We don't call these role playing in our office anymore. We call these workouts because the goal is just to tweak small things that make a big difference.
Okay, so what you're saying is if I'm planning to wait and make more money, I'm also planning to wait and spend more money?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I mean, well, okay, back to your point though, you were talking about competition, so wouldn't I have more option? And it also, isn't that why I'm hiring an agent, is to help me make the most on my home and save the most amount of money on the purchase?
Totally. When we sell your house, like, you're in the driver's seat, we're here to educate and advocate for you. So I think more nice question would be, if you don't sell now, like, let's say we wait, tell me a little bit more about why you're wanting to sell.
I mean, I think I'm just kind of outgrowing this house. The pool and the hot tub are great, but my kids are getting to, the end of high school and they're probably gonna go off to college or move, and so I just don't need quite all of this space. I've got a little bit of wiggle room with timing, my last is is a junior, so I've got at least another year or so. Yeah.
So if you don't move now and we wait another year, how does that impact? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, it would be, I'd like to probably move, and downsize sooner than later. But to be honest, I mean, the weight isn't that big of an impact. Really, I just want to make sure I get the best possible net and the best possible scenario for my family.
One thing is we may be able to connect more right now, but when you go to buy in the future, you're gonna be able to get a lot of higher, so you may have to put this money or go over actually on property. So there's trade-offs with trying to buy and sell it.
Okay, so you're going down the right path. Frame it very clearly. Because guys, real estate is a game of comparisons and figuring out what people are willing to compromise on and what they're not willing to compromise on. So be you're on the right vein, ultra specific. So would you rather sell now and buy now while prices are still a little bit lower, or would you rather risk prices going up and having to pay more on whatever you buy? That's the real comparison game here. And you got to make it as clear as possible for her.
So would you rather sell right now and wait for prices to go up and then buy and time the prices to go up while you're would typically rather sell right now while prices are a little bit lower, not have to go through that possible earlier on the buy side.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't have a crystal ball, right? So, I guess I'd rather go when I know what I'm gonna get, rather than wait and take a risk, now that we talked about it.
Say that again?
I'd rather probably list now rather than take the risk of not knowing what I'm gonna get in the future. Like, we don't, I don't know how prices are gonna. I guess my initial fear is, I think waiting, my initial fear was, I thought waiting would get me more money. But what you're saying is that it may not. So there's a risk in waiting rather than just selling now, right?
Good job. You crushed it. Great job. You guys are good. All done. Guys, the goal is not always to overcome the objection. Sometimes the goal is just to help reframe what they're actually comparing against. So if you actually do get that extra $25,000, are you going to lose that $25,000 the second you go push back in to buy? You are, and the waiting didn't do anything. You could have got into something that was going to be your long-term house at a better price, at better concessions, at better terms than if you had waited. That's the advantage to this. So, good job, guys.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think from my side of things, the only the piece of feedback that I have is I felt like right at the beginning, and obviously you and I are both agents, so like I'm picking up what you're saying. But if I was an actual seller, my only piece of feedback to you, Scott, would just be to keep it a little bit tighter, not get into too many details right away. And I think you would do that if I was an actual real seller. But for the situation of the role play, you know, you threw a lot of jargon in there, one right after the other. So I would just be, kind of aware of that as agents. Try to not use jargon and try to make it really, really succinct and concrete what it is that you're talking about to somebody who doesn't know that.
You have to dumb it down a little bit.
Dumb it down.
Yep.
Don't be so smart, Scott. Another one. Another one.
Make sure you say please so when it becomes sentient.
Another one. Please. DJ Gallet.
Okay, we need 2 volunteers. Guys, you see it's a 5 out of 10. Let's go right here.
Love that. Come on up, Alex.
Let's go.
Yes! Woo! Round of applause.
Context, you just wrapped up a listing presentation in Lehigh with Maggie, a first-time seller who's relocating to Arizona for a new job. She is interviewing a couple of agents and seems to like you, but objection, your commission is higher than the other agent I talked to. Why should I pay more? Maggie, what do you think the likelihood is of the agents in this room getting this question in a test scenario in the next 2 weeks?
100%.
So if I am you guys, I would probably put laptops down, I'd put phones down, I'd maybe record this, because this is going to be something that all of you are going to have very, very shortly hit you in the face. Who's going first? No, that's okay.
I can start.
You got this? Okay.
By the way, if you guys have feedback while I'm doing this, please do.
Okay, so yeah, I'm relocating to Arizona for my job, and I obviously I bought this house, and it's my first time selling a home,
Okay.
and so I just want to get the most out of this property, and I met with an agent recently who said that they would do it for, I think he said like 1.5 or 1%. So,
okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm just here trying to figure out all my options, and I've heard you guys are maybe a little bit more expensive than that. So, how come?
So I guess my first question for you is: did they walk you through what that 1.5% covers for them? Like what that gets?
Good question.
Yeah, he said that he was going to listen on the MLS and do some open houses.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, and you feel good about that as far as like the market for your property?
I mean, it seems pretty, they said he would also put it on Zillow and those kinds of things, so.
Okay.
Seems.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think as far
far as like coming from an agent, that's a great place to start. Open houses, MLS, and Zillow are definitely like the foundation point for marketing your property. But the reason why I charge like double that, right? I charge 3%. The reason for that is because I do more than double that amount of marketing. So, for instance, my team, I work with a ferry group, and our team has a lot of reach. So we have not only, just what you mentioned, but we have a lot of social media presence. So I will be marketing your property on my social media, which is just a fraction of what, our social media marketing is like. I can have, other agents come through, many different touch points for your property. And along with that, I mean, look, you're not just getting me as an agent, and I don't know what the other agent looks like as far as their team. Do you know what their team looks like?
I mean, no, I don't know. I think he said he was with like, I think he's with Keller Williams or something.
Okay, and do you know like if he has work today? I don't know if he or she, but do you know if they have like a group of support, like a group of people supporting them with your listing?
No, I mean, he didn't mention. I know he does like a fair amount of business.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, he talked about how many homes he's sold, and I think it, sounded. I think it was in the teens somewhere.
Oh, gotcha.
Switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to ask, what was important to you about that store?
I mean, obviously, with my move and all the costs of moving, I want to get the most amount of money. That's really it. And so I figure if I can pay 1% or 1.5%, obviously that helps me make sure that I get the most out of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is important to make the most of one of the biggest transactions that happen in lives. So I totally get that concern. One thing that we have noticed with lower like agents that go with the lower commission is they actually need more volume to supplement that difference. So you might not get more on transaction.
Okay, so stop really quick. This is very tricky for us to do. So really quick story, when I was selling at Edge, I had a buyer come in that was asking me about a bunch of different builders in the area, trying to get me to talk crap. I didn't. We ended up getting to the point where we were signing a contract, and I asked him for his email, and it was from somebody at Fieldstone Homes, competition builder, okay? What I am getting at with that is that there is a way to do what you were trying to do without tearing the other guy down. I have never seen success, those that have had a bunch of listings in the room, I have never seen success from tearing another agent down, but stand on the business that you are sitting here on. So what is that business? Correct. We provide not just at a higher level, because the higher level is harder to quantify, we provide more value. And it's not just views on social media, it's not just this, it's not just that. There is a whole team that is supporting this. So figure out a way to go down that same line of thinking without tearing the other guy down. Part of why I don't discount my commission is because I take on fewer clients so that I can be more available, so that I can provide all of the value, not half of the value. Something along those lines without tearing the other guy down.
So one reason that we don't count is just the value that we actually bring to the table. So when we work on listing, you're not just getting like you actually get over that get to have hands-on in your transaction as well, providing insights if there's any down the road or anything like that. So having that ability really is going to streamline the process for us. As well as negotiation. We're actually the number one thing for transaction. Really anyone else in the state. And those two things, our systems and our market footprint, really you can't find anywhere else. That's kind of why we charge the higher.
Okay.
So really quick, by show of hands, who feels like they are crushing this and who feels like there is ways to improve? Crushing it? Okay, ways to improve? Okay. So here's the only advice. We are talking a lot. We are really trying to convince this lady that we are really good at what we do. There's a very simple statistic that Maggie put out in our marketing guide. What was it? The Perry Group sells houses for how much more than our competition? 2% on average. So if we were talking about a 1.5% difference right now, I would just go to that. I Guys, the ratio right now, the advice I would give is the ratio of talking versus listening is backwards. We got to figure out how to flip that just a little bit. We got to be asking more questions. Right now, do you guys feel like you're on your heels or on your toes and having a conversation? And when you're flat-footed, it's easy to and when you're flat-footed, it's very easy to get pushed over, right? So you got to figure out a way to push this back one way or the other. This has to be a conversation. This is not. It's an interview, yes, but Hannah, best conversations that you have, are they conversations or are they interviews? They're conversations. They're me standing on business saying what I can do. The other part too, I'm gonna give you just a little bit of feedback. Guys, I've seen this so much in our office. We soften everything that we say. We soften when we should be standing on business. We soften where, well, we just do this. We are going to kind of do this. No, we are going to come in and execute. We are executors. That's what you are paying us for. The knowledge. One of Sharon's favorite quotes: "The knowledge is free. You're going to pay me for the execution. You're going to pay me for the implementation." Stand on business with this. Yep.
Want me to take over?
Sure. Let's switch it.
Okay. Yeah. So you had mentioned that the other agent that you were interviewing had 6 sales, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So just to give you a little bit of context, the team that I work with had just this month 100. Someone tell me. I had it on my head. Yeah, 170 contracts this month. Yeah. So I guess what I want to ask you is.
Stop. I'm going to stop you because we're using filler words. I guess you know. Jump into it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, my team can give you the value for from that 1.5%. I guess.
No, hey, guys, no, this is the awareness. Guys, the first step to correcting a behavior is what? Awareness. Now that you're aware, now you can start moving forward. It doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, but it means that we're going to get better because the awareness is there.
What do you want from that one? Do you want that, I guess, do you want it now, or do you want it at the end of the sale?
How would I get it at the end of the sale?
So, what we
Potentially,
can do for
like,
you
we
is
prep for,
when we list,
we go into a
the way
listing,
we
we give them a
market,
CMA, and we've never marketed
that
our
we get
house.
up
I think that's broken.
So we can get that 1.5% at the end of the transaction, rather than forfeiting that marketing.
100%.
Okay, that makes, so you're saying I'm gonna earn more?
Right. So at the end, you'll come out actually better having spent. You'll get 0.5% more if you go with us than if you went with the other agent. And
Why?
So
Quantify.
At the end of the sale, you will get that more than what the other agent would probably get.
Why? Why? Because we are the #1 team in the state, representing almost 200 transactions a month. What that means for you is we are more in tune with the market than any other team or brokerage in the state. Quantify.
Okay, so you said I'm gonna earn back that 1.5%, or I'm gonna earn more, I think is what you were saying?
Yeah, so our team does.
I would just say 200 a month.
Okay,
Yeah.
200 a month.
It'll be there by the time the listing goes live.
That amount alone will gain you back that. Our marketing from those 200 transactions will gain you back that.
Okay.
Can I give you a question to ask? So I always, whenever I'm about to ask a somewhat bold question, I usually try to preface it. Hey, I'm going to ask you kind of a mean question here. So I want you to try that. I'm going to ask you kind of a mean question here. If saving money is the most important thing to you, why are you still interviewing other agents?
I want to kind of ask you.
Chill, Siri. That's usually how it goes. They don't have an answer for it. That's
And I want to ask kind of a bold question. Making the most.
nope, saving. She never said making, saving.
Saving the most for your home. Why are you still?
That's a good question. I mean, my initial response is I just kind of wanted to see what's out there and see what, I wanted to do a little bit of due diligence. This is my first time selling a home, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I do get the best possible outcome hear what you guys are saying, that I probably pay attention to the service that I'm getting too.
Yeah, so I just, say with kind of what we've talked about.
Stop. I'm going to just kind of say it with kind of like what we talked about. Step into this. Step into this.
With what we've talked about, if we, with us being the number one state, and we can provide that service for you, and almost guarantee that we're gonna get you that outcome that you're looking for, you're gonna net what you want, as well as you're not gonna discount, your home in the long run. We actually provide service at a high level, getting you that 2% above sale price, covering our commission essentially. Is there something another agent can provide you that?
Okay, so good question. I want you to ask it in half as much time.
If we can provide everything that we've discussed about and what you're looking to do, is there something another agent you think is going to provide that we aren't?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so stop. That's a great stopping point. Good job. Remind me your name. Caleb. Okay, did everybody feel the difference? Like as I know it feels like we're being nitpicky up here, but guys, our job as coaches is to find the 1 degree. We are the top producers in the state. So what is there for us to coach on? It's the small things. It's the small nuanced things that will make this separation so much greater than your competition. Did everybody feel the difference? Two times. Number one, when he just jumped into it. And then number two, when you took that question, I said 50%, you took it to 25%. Did everybody feel how much more effective that was? That's what we call standing on business. And it's so difficult to do at times. And I don't know why, but the second we get in front of somebody, if our name's not Hannah Smith or Scott Willie, all of a sudden we start thinking like, golly, I'm going to tiptoe around this. You guys, you will lose more business in this industry by softening things than you ever will by being direct with people. Good job, guys. Also, one other thing, is everybody in their minds going through their list and thinking of their filler words? We all use them. We all use them. When I was at Edge, I had somebody, they would do something called a secret shop. And what they would do is they would send a buyer through with a hidden camera on a button. And they would give you a story. They just want to see how you interacted with people. Okay? This was early on in my career. I was feeling really good about myself. So he came up and I said, okay, so what has you moving from Vegas up here to Utah? And he said, my wife just passed away and I want to be closer to my kids. Do you guys know what my response was? Okay, awesome. Y'all know what my filler word was at the time? Okay, awesome. So it does not matter who you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this. I promise you have filler words. Why do we include filler words? We're trying to come up with what we're going to say next. You are better to take a breath. You are better to catch your breath. That's a really good question. And then go into it. Then you are to include these filler words. These filler words are just for softening's sake. These filler words are to buy us some time. You are better to slow your cadence down by 30% and exclude those filler words than you are to keep talking as quick as you can. Make sense? Any questions with that? Everybody identifying theirs right now mentally? If you are not going through the exercise of recording yourself when you're either role-playing or when you're actually in front of somebody at a listing appointment and then going through and critiquing, you're missing an opportunity. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Controlling the pace of the conversation is such a skill to have, where you can slow they will, if you match their rapid fire energy, you're going to get down a rabbit hole that they didn't really intend, that you didn't really intend. That is such a skill to just.
I feel like that happens to me every time I roll it. Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we're in a rabbit hole. I'm like, hey, how the hell do I get out of this?
Totally.
Where are my fast talkers in the room? Anybody ever felt like they were in a race to see who could talk fastest? Julie?
And that helps me just take a minute, and then they know that I'm listening to what that question says, and I'm acknowledging that even if I've heard that question beginning that no question is dumb. And if I just have an answer after every question, but when I say that's a really good right,
Yeah.
then it gives me a minute to get my grounding and then we move through it.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Okay, let's get 2 more volunteers. Does anybody, we have some folks in the room that are going to be evaluators. And I would love to give, if you are an evaluator in the room, would love to give you the opportunity to sit in this seat and practice being the seller. Carly, you want to come up? Okay.
I'm really curious too about this. By show of hands, who is afraid of silence in a conversation? Yeah. Silence is your best friend when you guys are selling.
Something that I think we get caught up in is comparing ourselves to whoever they just told you. And that agent or that seller or buyer doesn't really know that person very well.
They don't have context. Yeah.
So to interrogate them about that, and they're like, well, I don't know. And so I treat it like if I'm on a Zillow call and they say I have an agent, I step around that and I don't even, sometimes I'll acknowledge it, but usually I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I just pretend like that never happened and I show my no.
Yeah, I think in this, like what you did in this initial role play was you went, ooh, tell me, what is that other agent, what did they tell you they were gonna do for you? Essentially is what you said, right? Right at the beginning. Tell me about what that agent said. And they're like, well, I don't know, whatever. And to Julie's point, maybe a great switch to that would be something like, oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for meeting with me. Right? To kind of acknowledge, that's awesome. I love that you met with them. And thank you so much for meeting with me. And maybe you go right to the end there and you say, tell me, why did you want to meet with us today? Why did you not sign yet? Right? That way, instead of getting them to talk about what they do know or feeling like they need to defend that previous agent, they're just talking about why they're excited to meet with you or why they made the choice to meet with you. Way more, you can get so much more done in that conversation.
That tells you more about
Yeah.
what you're actually.
Totally.
Has anybody ever read The Full Fee Agent out of curiosity by Chris Voss? So in there he has this theory that you are either the decision or you're the due diligence. If you are the decision, you have an 80% chance of landing the listing. If you are the due diligence, you have a 20% chance of landing the listing. Anybody ever felt like they were the due diligence? Anybody ever felt like they were the decision? That's kind of how you flip it on the head. Hey, why are you even interviewing agents if it feels like you've already made the decision to save money? Okay, 2 volunteers. You're either the decision or you're the due diligence. Oh, the full fee agent. Full fee. Yep.
Sounds like you're saying filthy.
The filthy agent. The full fee agent. We need 2 volunteers.
Come on.
Julie and Ashley.
Ooh.
Julie and Ashley, come on up. Yep. Carly picked you. Boom. Objection number 3 coming in hot. Okay, you ready? So objection difficulty is an 8 out of 10 apparently.
I'm not ready because I haven't been to any of these yet.
I'm not. Okay, so here's the context. Okay, here's the context. You are on a follow-up call with Carly. She's a seller in Highland. Her home is beautiful, right? Her home is beautiful, custom built, and she has a specific number in mind as well that is well above a recent comp. She wants to overprice her house. You've already walked her through your CMA. That's the context. You've already walked her through your CMA. And here's Carly's objection. I understand what you're saying about the comps, but I still want to list higher. We can always drop the price later if it doesn't sell. Okay, so say that.
Who's going first?
I understand. Yep.
understand what you're saying about the comps, but I still want to list higher. We can always drop the price later if it doesn't sell. We'll say, give it to her again.
Well, okay, so I feel like we already would have the context of like
We already have
your
the CMA.
your like timeline, right?
Yeah, well, I saw you guys' comp, so, but I still wanted to.
Yeah, I literally have no. I'm sorry.
Okay. Are you good? You got it? Okay. Julie's like, shut the fuck up, man. Sorry, man. My bad. Didn't mean no disrespect. Hey, I'm new here.
Tell me more about that. Tell me what your motivation is. Because I know that we went through the pricing strategies, we went through the CMA, all of the data, and we did talk about that the market is going to respond to your property differently than it does to every other property, right? So I can kind of see where you're coming from. Tell me a little bit more about what you're thinking.
Well, so obviously I went through the comp, I did another comp. Mine is finished a lot better, obviously, like you can see, so it's hard to pour that much money into my house and then not get it back out, so I think I would at least like to try. I mean, I'm open to it down the road if it doesn't, but that's where we're starting.
Okay. Yeah, I love that because your quartzite countertops are stunning and your pool is better than every other one in Highland, right? So good. Your property is beautiful. We did talk about the pricing strategy, right? So that top one is just going in, we want very top dollar. We want to get every single dollar out of the property. And that's what you're searching for, right? That's what I hear you saying. Is that you want to price it so that you net the very most for your property. Is that right? So let's go back over this. If we price at the top of the market and say, like you said, you're okay to drop the price, we can never return back to that. So if we price at 3 million and we have to drop the price, nobody will ever offer 3 million again because we just said the market told us it's not worth 3 million. Does that make sense? So if we really are aiming for 3 million and we price at 275, there's a possibility it could go to 3 million, right? So tell me where your goal is for,
So that's where I want to
for selling, is 3. Okay. So if we start at 3 and we're planning to drop, we'll never go back. Does that make sense?
Ashley?
Damn, Gina.
Hey. Hey, I think one of my favorite things about this exercise has been we've seen new agents, we've seen experienced agents. It is fascinating to see because I think there's a lot of people in the room, especially when you're new, that look at people that are really good at what they do and they're like, I feel like I'm as good as them. Julie is insane. There's levels to this, y'all. There's levels to this. That's all I'm trying to say.
So where am I starting?
What's a question to ask at the end of that? Julie just went through a great, like, kind of mic drop scenario. What's the next question that you ask her?
Like timeline?
Yeah, would that be?
Timeline, or like one of my favorite ones, because we want to use real life context. Carly, if you were shopping for a home and you saw one that was listed at $3 million that had been on the market for 250 days, and you saw one that was at 275 that had been on the market for 2 weeks, which one would you feel like we could get the best deal on?
Okay, Carly, so as Julie explained, we're never gonna be able to get back up to that 3 million if we started. But let me put you in the buyer's shoes. If you're looking at similar properties to yours and you see one that's been on the market for, 150, 200 days that's at 3 million, but then you see one that's just listed within the last week or two for 275, what one would you wanna go look at first?
Nope. Which one do you think you could get the best deal
Oh,
on? Yeah.
Which one do you think you could get the best deal? Yeah, for sure.
I agree, which is why we want to do our best not to leave this house on the market and chase down.
So finalize.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
give her a standing of where, like, she agrees with you, now say, okay, but then I think it sounds like
So do you kind of like repeat what they said?
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every time. Yep. Okay, we're gonna reverse this. So, which one do you think you could get the best deal on? Yeah, I agree with you. And so it sounds like we're a bit on the same page that starting at 275 would be the best option for you to get more. More traffic. Yeah.
Well, because the goal is the market is the market, y'all. The market is the market. The house is going to sell for whatever the market tells us the house is going to sell. Which of the two strategies that we have explained to her do we feel like give us the best chance to get to 3 million? The start high and try to chase it, or the try to get everything through, or get as many eyes on this early as we possibly can. And this is where, if I am you guys have more market data than every single real estate agent out there. What is the piece of context that we have seen over the last 3 weeks that would lead us to believe this strategy would be effective? Multiple offers. So this is where I'd be providing context. We are the #1 team in the state. We are on pace to hit 1,500 transactions. And what we have seen in the last 3 weeks is more multiple offers than we did in the last 3 years combined. What that leads me to believe is that buyers are incredibly price sensitive right now. So if we price this just slightly below what market tells us the home is worth, that's going to give us the best chance to get to that 3 million.
Okay.
Yep. That's why it's a workout.
Okay. I don't remember where we left off, but
So
okay.
so
I
we just agreed.
We agree. And what we have seen within our team is that we have the best both on the market right now. We're about to close 1,500 transactions this year, which tells us what's really going on in the market. And there's my killer.
Yeah. Awareness. It's awareness.
Keep going.
What we've seen in the last 3 weeks.
Okay. So what we've seen in the last 3 weeks within my team and within the market is that there has been many multiple offer situations. I was just in one last week, and we've had more multiple offer situations recently than we have in the last 2 years. So if we price your property at that 2.75, I truly believe that we'll have that.
That's a risky proposition.
That's a risky one.
Yeah.
So what I would do there, exactly along those same lines, that says it without saying it, because you might list at 275 and you might sell for 250.
Yeah.
What if we do that?
Yeah.
Because the market actually says, you guys are overpriced at 275, this is worth 250. So prep in the way that, so what I would have said in that moment is, so our team has, we are on track to sell 1,500 homes. And so we really do have a pulse on the market. And what we're seeing is in the market, when the house is priced correctly and the marketing is done on point, it is driving traffic to those houses. And sometimes we're seeing multiple offers. It's coming back. Not every house, but houses that are desirable are seeing that again. So next steps on your house, let's do homework. Next steps on your house is that we want to market this as amazingly as we can. Okay? But some of the things that need to be fixed in your house that we talked about, those have to be done. And we're going to go with the staging at this level. So I would go to that next thing. So we just, now we're done with price. Now we're moving into
How are we
want to drive traffic to this property and have.
You're assuming the sale.
Yep.
At that point,
Yeah,
and I think the only tweak I would make is that this is our best chance to get that price point. If we go and we're trying to chase it down, we're never going to get there because everyone's going to race to the bottom. This allows us the opportunity to try to race to the top. Regardless, the market will tell us what that home is worth.
Well, and Julie's pivot is really good because as you go into all the things that need to be done to price accordingly, they're going to realize how much they don't want to do and talk themselves off that ledge of that thing. Yep. They're going to realize that they don't want to do everything and replace carpets in the whole house in order to price at the peak price point. So you handled it, and now you're convincing them in a way that they don't even realize that there's like all these tasks that we have to do to even list your home at the 275, like let alone the 3. opportunity, but like, now let's go into reminding you why your home is either going to have to be like.
Like it's been listed.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, and what you're seeing.
Supporting what she just said with like the strategy to list.
Well, and you're giving the seller the ability to make a decision.
Exactly.
Do you want to do all of this and get your house up to here, or do you want us to discount the price accordingly and sell it without you moving everything into storage and without me bringing stagers into here and all of that? So
9 times out of 10, they don't want to do as much work as necessary, so they talk themselves out of that price without even you having to keep fighting that war. So like moving on is the perfect way to remind them why you're not listing at that price because of all the things that need.
self-discovery.
So
Yep.
talking on the same topic, but she's moved on, but she's really like just hammering it
I'm
home.
just hammering the two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, be really confident when you move the money there. After they
Yep.
answer a question, don't just sit there and be like, what am I gonna say next?
Yep.
Like move right into your next thing.
Yep.
Yep.
Good job, guys. One more? Okay, the only other thing I'm going to add, the only other thing that I'm going to add to that, you guys, is that you have more market data. You have more information than everybody you're competing against. Every bum-ass real estate agent that's going to be going in and interviewing on that listing is going to talk in generalities. We're seeing a lot of multiple offers right now. The market's really heating up. Interest rates are getting a little bit better. Provide context. Provide context. We have been selling 1,000 homes a year for the last 2 years. And what we are seeing is more multiple offers in 2 weeks than in those 2 years combined. Contextualize and provide the actual context that being on this team affords you.
Yeah, everybody goes through the what. They're like, we're seeing multiple offers, we're seeing interest rates do this, we're seeing this. You are there to provide the how. This is how we simulate that in this context, right? Don't just stop at the what. Get into the how and how you're going to do that for this person that's sitting across the table. Another one. Okay, wait. Hang on, we can't see it yet. We have to get people up here.
I want 2 agents that have been here for less than a year. Let's go. Isaiah. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Isaiah. Wait, is anybody else, an evaluator in the room, want to come sit up and be the seller? Where did Hannah go? Mona?
Probably selling a house.
Get up here. I see you back there. Come on up.
Need one more volunteer as tribute.
Volunteer. Anybody who's been here for less than a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems right. There's got to be some of those in this room, I feel like. They're just looking down. They got calls all of a sudden.
Yep. Hi, good morning. Good, how are you?
Hey, the Perry Group pays me by the hour. I will sit here. No. Got it? Let's go. Remind me your name.
Yes,
Tiffany?
Round of applause for these guys. Okay, here's the situation. So the context is you're meeting with Mona, okay? We're gonna say a seller in Sandy, okay? All these are Utah County. Mona lives in Sandy. We're literally neighbors. Okay, Mona is retiring and downsizing. She likes your marketing plan, but she is an old school DIY type, and she thinks she can do it herself. She thinks she can do it herself, okay? So she says, I think I'm just gonna try to sell it on my own first, and if it doesn't work, I'll give you a call. Okay?
Who's going first? Gentlemen.
Okay, so what does, selling a home look like? Like, what strategy?
Yeah, well, I just feel like, my home would just be really easy to sell. So I think I could just put a sign up and I think I'd get a lot of calls.
And what is it that you think will make it easy to sell?
Yeah, I think I put a lot of work into my home. I'm going to price it the same price that you guys said that I should price that. I just think it shows well and I put a lot of work into it and I'm going to price it at market value.
Okay, so let me ask you this, what if you list it, right, and you don't get any, like, what other strategies do you have?
Wait, stop. Just ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ask the question. Don't try not to ramble and give her. Clearly, she just said, "Oh, I'm gonna list to the price that you just gave me. Thanks so much." Right? Like, awesome, cool. So if you are like, "What other things do you have? Are you planning to do this, 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 and this, and this?" Right? You kind of want to hold that, right? Let her answer and be like, "Oh, okay, well now, here's all the things that I'm gonna do for you."
I don't think I'm gonna run into that issue.
And why is that?
Because, like we went over in our listing appointment, 600 is at market value, pretty competitive against what everything else is sold at. I feel like I'll get a lot of action.
Isaiah?
Hey, Mona, you mentioned you have experience selling homes on your own. Outside of your past experience in selling homes, what is another reason that you feel like take this job on yourself to get your home?
Well, like I said, I'm retiring, so I have more time on my hands now. So I can handle scheduling the showings and, answering phone calls.
Okay. And outside of you being able to do those things for yourself, what is your ultimate goal to get your place? To maximize the value of your sale, or is it just to get the home?
Well, I want to sell this quickly and for as much as possible. Like I said, I'm retiring and I'm ready to settle down and relax.
Okay. Well, me and my team, if we can show you how we can get your home sold as quickly as possible and for the maximum amount of value that the market has to offer, would you be open to allowing us to walk you through that process of what that would look like and get your home sold quickly?
Did we already do a listing appointment?
Yes.
Oh, we did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He likes your marketing
Yeah,
plan.
he likes your marketing plan, but still thinks he can. She still thinks she can handle it herself.
Can I give you a line?
Yes.
Does anybody ever use the lawyer analogy in this situation? Did you? I don't know where I got it. Yeah. So I came up with this. Have you heard the lawyer analogy?
I have not. No.
Can I ask you a really personal question, Mona? Yeah, sure.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, have you ever been sued before?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. I've been sued a couple of times.
I'm about to see you.
Frivolous stuff. Nothing that ever stuck to me. But my question for you is, if you were being sued, would you ever work directly with the other individual's attorney in a settlement case?
No, never.
Why is that?
They have the other person's best interest.
Okay. So a follow-up question for you. If you were shopping for a house, would you try to find one that was represented by an agent or one that was represented by the owner?
I think it depends on the deal.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, as an agent that represents a bunch of buyers, I would always try to go and find a house that was being sold by the owner. Do you know why?
Take advantage of them.
That's a strong way to put it, but I would feel like my best chance of getting the best value for my client that I represent is to go after somebody that might not be as informed and knowledgeable about what the market value of their home is. Something along those lines.
So are we picking up?
Yeah. Put that in your own words.
So we left off that I have more time on my hands, or no, that I want to sell it because I want to finally be able to relax.
And so, Mona, it's great that you have the time on your hands and that you want to be able to relax. Do you understand how, as agents, it is our duty and our job to bring buyers to buy your home, and with that fiduciary to them to get them into your home as close.
Yeah, because that was how my agent got me into this one.
So, with that being said, I'm trying to like.
I just don't know if that
completely
analogy
because-
works.
Yeah.
Because I love using that analogy when I get a Zillow call and they want to talk to the listing agent. I think that analogy is perfect, but I think in a FISBO, it's kind of hard to get them to that point because it's so far ahead.
Which point?
Like when a buyer, like, would you use the same lawyer
Then just do the second half.
Yeah.
If I'm with a buyer and I'm shopping for houses and I see one that's for sale by owner versus one that's represented by a really good agent, I feel like my ability to get them the best deal is going to be on the one that's represented by the seller or by the
For
owner.
sale by owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mona, what I would want you to see is that as a buyer and as an agent to the buyer, my job is to get the buyer into your home for as less cost. So, of course, those agents that see you selling your home for yourself, they're going to drive their buyers to you because they feel that they can get into that home as less as possible because of the lack of knowledge that you may have about the market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tiffany?
So with that being said, if you don't have someone on your side to represent you, but you have buyers that have agents representing them, like what does that look like to you? Are you willing to do the negotiating yourself out of court?
I'm not too sure. I think my biggest focus was to get the buyer.
Yeah, and that's understandable. That's what every seller wants, right? Is to get the buyer. However, there's a lot that goes into the process of selling a home, and that's where us agents would come in.
Hold on, I'm gonna have you just stop because you were this close. There's a lot that goes into the process, especially after you find the buyer. So many agents spend so much time on the upfront. We're gonna market, we're gonna list, we're gonna do this. Da, 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 da. Our job really starts once that buyer comes in the door.
Yeah, what about everything after?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like to break like there's 3 big processes of listing your home. Pre-listing, getting it ready, pre-marketing, finding the buyer, and then last but most importantly, the
Getting
contract, the negotiating contract process.
And I think that's where there's the most value to be created is in the negotiating process for really skilled agents.
Yeah, because a lot of sellers like the first 2 parts really they could do on their own. They might not have as much of like a wide net as many buyers, but they could, post on marketplace, things like that. But where we really shine is negotiating.
And I would probably give it to her. I would probably agree. Like, Mona, you're retired at this point. You absolutely can show your house. You absolutely can take those phone calls. What happens when somebody wants to start negotiating with you and you're negotiating with another agent, right? Like you can acknowledge and say like, I absolutely agree that you can do that. The value that's going to be created is here though.
I think
Question?
Oh,
Okay.
So like to put a twist on the like lawyer analogy, I would say like if you are in court, would you want to represent yourself or would you want to have a lawyer? Instead of saying like versus the other analogy, like when we get somebody who wants to record with the agent, like that's a lawyer, more so like
Represent yourself.
would you represent yourself in court or would you be hiring a lawyer? Hiring a lawyer because yes, while they do cost money, they are an investment and they have the knowledge and they have that like and you can also put it on yourself. Like if I was in court, like I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the experience as a lawyer. Instead of making them sound dumb, like you put that on yourself, instead of putting it on them. Sorry, I know we're like
No, it's okay.
So let's what I would want like 100% like how I would phrase it like yes, like you have legally you have the right to sell your own home.
You have the time to sell your own home, yeah.
So yes, I do agree that you have the time to sell your home, right? You are retired, but this is probably like a DIY project for you if you want to completely.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
It's this it just sounds a little belittling to them of like this is a fun little project, this is the person's home, and so I would just phrase it more like you have the time and you have the right, like literally like you can completely sell this home on your own, like you legally you can sell your nobody.
You can price it for what I told you to. I mean,
Yes, like,
yeah.
you can all of that sounds great. What I want you to focus on is once you get an offer.
So yes, I do agree that you have some, you can even price it, what you can price it at, you have all of that, right, to do so, right? However, what I want you to focus on is once you start getting offers, are you ready to negotiate the big that you have to stop there? Stop.
Yep.
Stop. Right. Are you ready to negotiate against other agents? Leave it at that.
How many people feel themselves doing that? Like I should have stopped and I kept talking. Yep. There's so much more power in just stopping and letting there be silence. Good point out.
I haven't really thought that far ahead. My focus was what am I going to list it at and getting a buyer. Okay, and that's fair. Because those are like the two major points today. But when you look beyond that, the offers start to come in. And are you wanting to get top dollar? Is that hard to do? Because if you get multiple offers, you have multiple agents to negotiate against. Are you ready?
Okay, so I want to tweak this just a little bit. Just a little bit. And we use this phrase all the time. Top dollar, top dollar, top dollar, top dollar, top dollar. Is it always about top dollar? What is it about?
The seller.
It's not even about the net.
It's different for every seller. Maybe
Correct.
somebody wants to sell quickly. Maybe somebody does only need
Maybe they need a
$12.
60-day lease back. Maybe they need all sorts of stuff. She's already expressed going quickly. So if you go quickly, are you always going to get top dollar? No, but is it worth potentially giving up to get out of your house quickly? Yes. So it's the best offer, not top dollar. What we are going to negotiate with you for, what we are going to negotiate for you is the best offer for your circumstances. And we are on pace to do that 1,500 times this year. So we are really good at it.
I was just like, tell me, like, when you get
Mhm.
off, like, what is the most important?
Yeah. Pivot to talking about what the best offer looks like, right? Then you get this person talking about what they want, and then you get to talk about all the ways you can deliver on what they want, and then you're assuming the sale. You know?
So tell me, what does the best offer look like? Well, like I said, I'm retiring, and while I do want the most money for my home, I can't have this drag out for months on months. I wanted to. And that's fair. So with the other agent, right?
I think we're at a good stopping point, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's fantastic. Good job, guys. All you.
Excellent. Last Thursday when we did this, we stuck around for another like 30 minutes and kept going, which we absolutely can do. Whoop. Which we absolutely, good throw, Boo. And give me a round of applause for Boo for coming up and helping us with that. Awesome. So yeah, so we can absolutely stick around and keep processing through these. Again, I think some really important takeaways from today's session. First and foremost, almost every single objection that you are going to face in real life or in these scenarios, the first question that you're going to ask is always, tell me more about that. Ooh, that's so interesting. Say more about that, right? Almost every single time. And then we're getting into asking more details about why that's important to them, right? And trying to pivot to how you can execute on what's important to them. So you ask why, you get the what, and then you talk about the how. That's the order almost every single time. Tell me more about that. Why is that important to you? Now I've identified what is important to you. Here's how I can actually pull through on that. Here's the actual how. Other really, really solid takeaways from this today is obviously keep it short and sweet. Ask the question and leave it. Ask the question and leave it. Any other big takeaways from the crowd?
Less talking.
Yeah.
Converse.
Yeah. Less talking, and also start doing it more. Like, I feel like from the 2 times that I've done this, I've learned way more than just like watching other people. Of course, it's great to hear the tenured agents do it, but when you have to actually say it, it's so different. Like, everyone wants to sound just like Julie when they're sitting there. You won't. You won't sound just like Julie. You will sound so clunky. So it's like, just do it, and like, you will learn.
Get the reps.
Yeah.
Like,
Get
the
the reps.
worst person you want to practice on is your
Is-
sellers.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
so like, yeah, like you might be weighed, like you finally get a listing appointment and you've done no role play, you've done nothing, and guess who you're actually executing all this on? The person that you actually want to get an ERS signed. So
don't be afraid to like grab an agent and just role play some of these things. I mean, obviously next week's gonna be huge for all of this for all of us, but yeah, you don't want to role play on your sellers.
Totally, totally.
Well, we did role play in the past. You know, if you-
Yeah, exactly. We throughout the week next week and even the weeks after that, we'll still be doing sessions like this here in the body of the office. We're going to be running tests in the conference room and in the closing room and in Jack's office, kind of all over the place. But in the middle here, this is free for you guys to just plug in to this, start running some seller objections. We'll do some concrete, live sessions all together like this too. So just keep your eye on your calendars. There'll be a lot of pop-up sessions. And again, yeah, just practice with your friends. Don't practice on your money.
Don't practice on your money. Everybody has filler words.
Yep.
Identify them. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is not a bad thing. Awareness is a very good thing. Don't practice on your money, practice on your friends. The cruel reality with real estate, you guys, is we don't get to decide when these appointments are going to call us. This is one of the craziest jobs in the world because it can change with one phone call. Anybody ever been having a terrible month? It's the 28th of the month and all of a sudden you get that one phone call, completely changes the month. You cannot control when that comes in. You can control your preparedness when that does come in though. You can control how prepared you are when that phone call hits.
Yep.
This is supposed to be fun. I think the other important thing that I want to highlight, you guys, is that at the Perry Group, we have a very distinct way of doing things. We have the Perry Group way for this is your open house checklist. This is your ERS checklist. This is your listing prep checklist. Nothing that we are doing up here, we don't want you to come up and sound exactly like Julie. We don't want you to say it exactly like how Boo will say it, or Maggie will say it, or Michael will say it. We don't want that. We want all of you to be able to communicate effectively, but in the way that is effective for you.
Yep.
That is the goal with this exercise. So last point, we will be doing this again on Monday in Utah County. One more time before, if anybody wants to come down, our doors are always open.
Totally. Cool. We can stick around too if you guys want to do more. Happy to.
Yep. Am I allowed?